Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Higher Moment Mastermind. I'm Sheryl Litzar, happy to be joined by two expert colleagues now, Vern Schellinger and Alki Thompson. We're all here to help you navigate your search. So as per usual, we will go around the room and just see who's got a job search question, and we are happy to help out. So who'd like to kick us off?
I can perhaps bring up something that I made a connection with a search firm, and everything went silent. So there was a specific job that I looked at the job board and I responded to, applied, and the person from the search firm contacted me and said, "I'll email you with more information." And I never got that. And then I called back, got voicemail. And then I sent a LinkedIn request, which she connected with me. And on that LinkedIn request, I again expressed my interest, and she's so sorry, she had computer problems, she'll get back to me. And radio silence. And
now, Michael, just make sure I'm following here. Was there an actual opportunity? I didn't catch that piece. You were actually applying for a specific job?
Yes, with an association that she was representing. And boy, it's a matter of, if she felt that I wasn't the right candidate, let me know. But I almost felt like I was led on, and then radio silence. So it's one of those things that I know that recruiters have plenty on their plates these days, and I'm not the top of the list of things to do. Got it. How far do I bug them? I guess.
It's always a delicate question, right? Because you're right. Recruiters have various levels of busyness and juggling multiple jobs and multiple candidates. And yes, different people have different levels of organization and responsiveness to folks. So what can I tell you? I mean, you've done what you could, right, to be professional, and you had, your connection here. Look, I would maybe wait another week, and just maybe do another quick ping, say, hey, so-and-so, just want to, come back to the top of your inbox. Are you doing LinkedIn messages or your email?
That last one was LinkedIn.
Okay. I would actually shift to email if you can. Because, look, recruiters absolutely are checking their LinkedIn, but please know something about LinkedIn. And you might have seen this yourself in messaging. The thing about messages is it's a little different than scrolling through your inbox, right? Because it's very easy for your message to go right to the bottom and completely be out of mind, because the way that the messages go, it's not like we can easily sort them like you can in Outlook. Does that make sense? So it's very easy for somebody's, for somebody's message. We might have an engagement with somebody, but then all of a sudden we have a flurry of other messages, and then all of a sudden something goes away. We just don't see it. And if we clicked on it, we have to remember to mark it as unread and to become black. I mean, I don't mean to get too technical here, but it's very easy for a message in LinkedIn to get lost in the sauce. Okay.
Right.
Just please know that from our perspective, because we're juggling and, back and forth and all these different messages. So it literally could be that she just, had every well-intentioned, but your message physically just went away.
Right.
With emails a little different, because as most of us professionals, we sort them in different ways to make sure that we're in touch with people. So I would shift to email, see if you can get back on her radar then. Alki, any thoughts on this?
I've tried not to grin through the whole thing, and I'm not laughing, of course, at you, Mike, at all. I'm grinning for many reasons. One, because I know I mentioned it last week, and I'm definitely not trying to do any plugs, but I'm grinning because this week, as I work on my writing project about this very topic, I'm right smack dab in the middle of a list of answers for all these things that you don't have answers to, and this is one of them. But as you spoke, I was going to say one of the questions that I would ask recruiters, when it's a search firm, in the beginning, if they don't disclose it, is basically to try to find out where they are and where you are in the process. Like, hey, you contacted me, or it was a screen call, or it was just an email, to try to find out as soon as you can. Like, okay, great, nice to meet you. I look forward to hearing more. Like, where is the search, so that you get an idea of where you are? Because a lot of times, which is why I was grinning too, a lot of times that was just an initial contact, but they may not have even gotten information from the hiring manager yet, but you just looked good when they found you, and so they kind of stuck you on the side. But they're not telling you that. They're not telling you, hey, I just found you, I got to get a lot of more information. Or the job, sometimes, the search changes. Yesterday it was hot.
Hmm.
Last night,
Right.
3 new candidates came in, and then you became
That's right.
number 5, or you became an
That's right.
iffy, but they didn't
Mhm.
tell you. That's the
Right.
big part that's missing, is they're not telling you.
Right.
They're not keeping you posted on where you are. So I think you're within all of your rights. And
Mhm.
that email that Shira mentioned, to somehow make that one of your questions is, hey, by the way, like, are there a lot of candidates to this search? Did it just start? And try to get some information, so you at least know, what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a really good point Alki's making around where you are, like where they are in the search, but where you are in the candidate pool, because they're not going to necessarily tell you that. I mean, think of it from the recruiter's perspective. We're not going to say, oh, well, we have these 3 other candidates who are more qualified, but then not, and then something changes, and then you are, and then you're not. Like, we can't, like, we're not going to keep every candidate posted as to where they are in the pecking order, if that makes sense, because things are changing. It's very fluid. The searches are very, very fluid. And so it's for us to keep people posted as appropriate, right? If you are still a candidate, okay, you're still a candidate. But again, things change and everybody's in a different spot, right? Candidates come, candidates go. This hiring manager changes their mind, and then all of a sudden we have a new person, and it's like this right. And then we have lots of candidates to juggle. So we really can't, right, keep every single person posted. It just wouldn't make any sense. So what you can do, right, is, like we were saying, go ahead and just gently make little pings, just to see if it makes sense for them to, continue to keep you in mind. But like with everything, it's just one egg in your basket, right? I always talk about being a farmer. Got to plant lots of seeds, because the birds and the wind and the rain are going to take them. So you keep your side is basket full. And by the way, recruiters do that too. We're both keeping our baskets full, you with jobs and us with candidates. None of us ever know what's going to happen. Just like we can't rely on one amazing candidate to be the one, because that person might get a job. Okay. Or they might get a counteroffer, or they might not be interested in the role, or not be qualified, or whatever. And so we have to have lots of candidates. You have to have lots of jobs, and both of us are managing the mix together. Just like you're not going to be letting every employer know, hey, I'm pending here and I'm pending there. Like, sounds silly for me to even say that, but does that make sense? You should let an employer know if you're pending an offer, and you need to let them know, hey, you're my top choice. It's the same kind of thing. So you understand it's all relationship management on both sides. Everybody's got to watch for what's the appropriate level of communication with the other person. Does that make sense? So yeah, you do your job to go ping, but as appropriate. Vern, did you have a thought?
No, other than, and Alki, you could weigh in on this. I mean, just like every other profession, there are people who are, more dedicated, more professional than others. And there's recruiters that do get back to you on a regular basis. And then other people, they're just simply so busy, and they just don't, it doesn't bother their conscience that, hey, I should get back to this person, but I don't have time, so I'm not going to do it. Or they just slip through the cracks. And that's just the reality of the whole search process.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Sure. Other questions? Oh, it looks like we have 2 new folks. Shakori, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, and Paul. Are you available to turn on your video for just a moment? Hope just to say hello and share with us maybe just a quick one-liner about what you're looking for.
Hi, I'm Shakori. I'm not available to turn on the video. I apologize. I'm in the community. But my field is counseling. The last position I held was as a domestic violence clinician. And yeah. So I'm now looking for something. I don't know. I'm kind of in between. I am looking for I went for a teaching fellows position, although that got postponed until 2024. I like teaching, I like counseling. I'm passionate about empowering people. So I'm in between right now, in between positions.
All right, well, welcome. How did you hear about us?
I am a part of other groups in Meetup, and I went to home and I just saw this and I thought this is perfect.
Well, we're delighted to have you. We meet every single week, and it's open Q&A format, as you can see, and we are happy to give some job search advice. I'm a recruiter and a career coach. My colleague Vern Schellinger is a former HR executive and a career coach, and Alki Thompson is a corporate recruiter, a headhunter, and does a lot of corporate searches. So we all have expertise to share with you. So welcome. And
Thank you so much.
Paul, you're so welcome. Paul, I see in the chat here you're unavailable for mic and cam, but hopefully you can hear us. Obviously you can since you responded, and we'll look forward to getting to know you as you're available in the future to share stuff. And if you want to put in chat, what you do and what you're looking for, that would be great. All right, so who else has a question we can address? Dave?
Yeah, sure. Excuse me. I want to thank you for the LinkedIn Pro video. I want to play a little catch up, and so I viewed that. And I want to thank you for a couple things in particular. One is the Unicode lookup symbols, okay, which I used on LinkedIn. And also I revisited my About section, and I think that the About section, in addition to my philosophy, I have 5 specific problems I solve for 5 different clients. But that speaks to my real problem that I have. I have a lane, which is software. I don't have a community, not a consistent community. And so when I look at these job postings, they'll say, okay, you need to be an expert in this programming, but you have to have 5 years in this industry. You have to have, particular industry.
Yes.
And the nature of what I did was I do a project for insurance. I do one for pharmaceutical. I do one for a sports team. You get the idea. So that's part of the reason why I'm trying to, if I can possibly parallel a job opening that I know of with somebody on LinkedIn, I think that's maybe the way to go. So what I did recently is I found a job opening. I applied for it. I reached out to a second level person in general that works there. We have things in common. I'm hoping maybe that this person will connect. But I also have a second level chief marketing officer, which maybe doesn't make a lot of sense. But I feel like I want to try to reach out to people within a company that at least at some point hires the kind of work that I do. And I'm not sure the best way to reach out to them on a second level message.
Great question. So to address that, I'm actually going to step it back up 100,000 feet for the sake of the group. Okay. Before deep diving into your specific question. So first of all, you're absolutely right. Most employers are looking for what we call the unicorn or the purple squirrel, which typically means somebody who's got sort of the everything. And I'm going to go through the nomenclature that you just addressed. So the nomenclature I use for this is I call it lane and community. Okay. It's 2 different things. So Dave was alluding to it. So your lane is your profession. Your community is the industry, mission, or sector that you serve. Now, some people are very community oriented, like they've had a full career in commercial real estate or financial services or government contracting or associations or whatever. And some people are very lane focused like you are, Dave. You're an IT guy. You're cross community, like you've done all kinds of communities. From the employer's perspective, they're looking for often, not always, often they're looking for both. Often they're saying, we've got a job, here's the lane. Oh, and by the way, we want you to understand our customer base, so please come from our industry, right? That's just kind of very, very normal. Or they'll say, healthcare industry experience preferred. Well, right, preferred. It usually means required because they're actually looking for that person, and they try not to stop until they find that person. If they absolutely can't, then maybe they'll consider somebody outside the sector. So that's the high level of what's going on. As far as, connecting with folks, you're right? To the extent that you can find an internal champion to, get your candidacy notice, that's very helpful. In terms of the who you should be going after, this is how I like to say it. So the best people, okay, who can champion your candidacy, meaning if you're not first level with these people, if you can find a second level who is connected to these people, this is going to be your best bet. If you can find a first level who's connected to a second level, and if the second level are these people, this is your best bet. So if these second level people are the CEO or COO, but C-suite, the number one or number two, the hiring manager, of course, the HR person or the recruiter, right? So highest level C, number one or two, hiring manager, HR person or recruiter, presuming they have any of those people. They'll have a number one, but they may not have those other ones. Those are the people who are going to be in the best position to get you noticed, right? So the CEO, most people, hiring managers are going to be like, oh, hey, the CEO referred this person, I'll consider them. The HR person says, oh, the hiring manager referred them, I'll consider them, right? So that's sort of your ecosystem. Then there's sort of the everybody else. So like your CMO, okay? So what's a CMO have to do with the IT department? Maybe not too much, but they're a colleague, okay? So it's somebody in the organization. So if you are connected to, you know Susie, okay? And Susie's connected to John, and John is the CMO. You can write to Susie. But by the way, in your case, Dave, does the person who's connected to the CMO, do they work at that company or not?
Yeah, that's the point. They work at the company. What I neglected to mention is they hid all the mutual connections. I can guess who the mutual one is, but I don't know for sure. Whereas the other person, I said, oh, I know Jane over there, and so do you. And that's fine as far as that went. But here's somebody.
Oh, it's when they're hidden.
This is
that's
hidden.
Tricky. That's very tricky. And it's so funny because sometimes it's hidden because the person actually just turned off their connections. But sometimes I think this is just a LinkedIn glitch. And here's why I say that. Alki and Vern, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but so if somebody is trying to be confidential about their contacts, what'll happen is you'll open up the person's, let's say it's a first level. Let's say, let's say Vern and I are connected, right? Which we are. So Vern and I are connected and he has 500 plus contacts. If he wants things to be confidential, that 500 plus is going to turn up black, not blue. Blue means I can click on it and open it up. But with a second level, right? I think that most of the time it's a glitchy thing on LinkedIn's part, because sometimes you'll see connections in the middle and sometimes you won't, and nothing much you can do. You just can't do anything about that. And so, yes, if that CMO you're connected as a second level and that's the only person you have as a possible connection, yes, could you reach out and say, hi, so-and-so, you and I are second level connected on LinkedIn without mentioning a name because you don't have a name, and just see what happens and say, hey, I've recently applied to the blah, blah position. Would you be, if you're open to connecting, this is how I would phrase it. If you're open to, because you're doing a connection request, right? If you're open to connecting, I would be happy to forward you my cover letter and resume for you to forward along to the hiring manager. That's really, to me, the best thing that's really the only thing you can do, because you're right, you don't have a mutual connection to leverage. And if they're your only person, I think that's going to be your only bet. So I don't know if Alki or Vern, you have another thought on that?
Well, the only other thought is the other type of scenario where you do have some type of first level connection that best case, they work at the company. And, you can reach out to them and ask them to forward your resume to the appropriate people within the company. And if you have a really strong relationship with that first level connection, they'll not only forward your resume, but they're saying, here's somebody I worked with, 5 years ago. This person's really a top-notch person, character, competence. And so you're getting an endorsement, and that usually would certainly get your resume looked at. It'll get it out of the pile and get it looked at by HR or somebody, or the hiring manager, that at least gives you a shot at, being considered for the interview.
All different ways.
First level.
I was waiting for Vern to own that one and knock it out of the park. Endorsement's the biggest word. Because there's there are a lot of creative ways to do that, in addition to what you said, Shira, and what you're doing already, what he's doing already. But the endorsement thing is huge.
You mean get additional references from people? That's one of the things I'm trying to do, and that's not necessarily easy. You mean you're talking about somebody giving me a recommendation?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a written, recommendation or endorsement, but even if it's just a verbal conversation within the company between somebody really well and who can speak on your behalf and saying this is somebody you really ought to look at. So
Unfortunately, I don't have that. That's being in a small company for 20 years. I don't really have.
Yeah.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can.
We can hear you.
Good.
Yes.
I was having audio problems for some reason, and
Yeah.
Zoom
Yeah.
was funky. Okay.
Yeah.
It's I was gonna let you come back and verify first because it did pop out for a second, but yeah, to your point, and I know Shira has said this before, I was gonna say, and this isn't always the easiest news, but it does pay off. Essentially, what a lot of us, well, I am, and it sounds like Vern and Shira as well, a lot of recruiters, the typical recruiter is busy recruiting. There's a few of us who have done this enough that understand not just that we want to help and we're on calls like this, but a lot of us have learned too to make our jobs easier by feeding some of our candidates some of this inside information / work as well. It can be a lot of work to have the candidate do things other than just apply for the job, which is typical candidate, but to do networking, to do research, to go find people who's connected to this person, who used to work for that company, who do I know, what's a good customer that I've helped, a good client before, who had a rave review about me, that I could turn around and then use that and share that as part of my cover letter or part of my resume, that will make somebody say, hey, he must be decent if he has this many people talking about him. It is some work to go in and find all these other creative ways other than just presenting a resume to try to get an in. But at the end of the day, that's what we do, is we try to get an in. Once we get an in and we have a good candidate, the rest hopefully takes care of itself. I did this yesterday, and I'll admit it failed with someone that I used to work with. I have a candidate that I was trying to get an in with. We both worked for that same org years ago. She actually posted a job about something else, and I spent my time trying to let her know, hey, my candidate isn't good for your job that you posted, but they are looking to get into that community. They want to make a switch. Her mind was still wrapped around, yeah, she doesn't fit the job that we're posting. And I was trying to get her to see, no, I'm trying to network with you and connect with you. But it was work. And even my last email after 5, I was like, well, hey, great, have a great day. I stopped because it was work. Then I realized she wasn't getting it and I could be spending my time elsewhere. So it is work and it gets frustrating, but finding endorsements or somebody who can give you an in, that's the work that you're trying to do.
Yeah,
That's right. Thank you.
Karen?
So one of the things you can do, Dave, is you can join groups that your friends are joined to, or some of the people you want to connect to. When you have groups, you can send emails to them without any problem.
Yeah, I've
And
done that.
maybe connect that way.
Yeah, thank you for continuing to remind us of that, Karen, because I'm not a groups
I'm
person.
sorry.
No, Karen, no, I literally mean that. I literally mean thank you for doing that, because I'm not a groups person, so I always forget to mention that, and I'm so glad you're always here to remind us of that, because it is important. So thank
Well,
you.
I've had a bunch of people pop up lately that I swear to God I don't know, and it's all because I'm in a new group.
Yeah,
And
groups are
I
great.
haven't reached out to them, but it's just like, where are all these people
Groups
coming
are,
from?
are a hidden little treasure there, because you can be part of a community or part of a lane, and go find.
Well, a lot of times you can see on someone's profile, I disappeared there, what groups they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just go ahead and join them and see if, they'll talk to you that way.
That way. You never know. Got to try multiple touches with folks on LinkedIn, right? Because a lot of people who are gainfully employed do not check their LinkedIn. They're not active, right? Remember when you were just doing your job, right? How often were you on LinkedIn? So if you're sending a connection request, if you're sending an email, if you're sending a message, if you're sending a group, whatever, I mean, those kinds of touches may or may not be received on the other end. So it's good to do multiple things, especially if you can get somebody's email. that's where people are more likely to check, as you well know.
And what I keep telling myself is you don't know where this person is, why they're not connecting to you.
That's right.
They could have a whole different head on, even though you think the only thing they should be doing is helping you get a job. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're all busy, you know, and even folks like me and Alki and Vern, right? We're networking all the time. I'll sometimes have messages in there that I haven't checked, you know, for however quick long, or if it say, oh, somebody tried to connect with me, like, and I'm on it all the time. So yeah, we got to give each other grace, but again, email is the most direct route if you can find that person's address. So anyway, all right. Actually, along these lines, just something happened yesterday. So I'm doing a search, and I did decide to post. I don't do this all the time, but whatever. I decided to post the job on LinkedIn's job board. This is the kind of search that actually was, I think, fine for doing that. Well, anyway, I've been getting, as you might imagine, you know, people just applying to the ad. And one person last night decided to go around the process and write me directly. And it was actually very impressive that she did that. She wrote me a thoughtful cover letter, right? Put writing samples in. I didn't even ask for that. And addressed me directly and caused me to stand up and take notice. And I'm only saying that because you do not just have to use the job board. You can go directly to the recruiter. It's okay. In fact, I would actually recommend it, because that shows thoughtfulness. That shows that you're not just clicking a button and applying for some random job. You're actually interested in this role. You submit a thoughtful cover letter, a customized resume, address the recruiter directly. That person be like, wow, this is somebody who actually is serious about this, and somebody I should actually stand up and take notice about. So I just want to share that as right hot on my desk, kind of little tip for you.
Isn't it unusual to have somebody's name on it? Like your name must have been on it, and that's how she found it.
Certainly it is. Yeah, I mean, but not. And you're right, because I am a third party recruiter, and I do put that on there. But you're right. It isn't always. So you're right. You can't always do that if it is going to the hiring manager and they don't have it. But to the extent, now if you can find it, the person's name, and you can find their email, which look, isn't that hard to do, right? Because if you start looking for if you get creative and start Googling, right, the company, oftentimes you can find some pattern of what the email address may be, right? You know, first initial last name or some version or whatever at acme.com, you know. If you can figure out the name of the hiring manager, do some research, try it. You never know. Or the HR person or the recruiter, but at least do your best to go around if you can, only because it shows that you're actually being thoughtful. Now, might somebody say, oh, well, they didn't follow the process? Yes, everybody's got a different lens. For me, I thought it was very proactive and creative, but that's just me. Vern, because you used to be on the HR side of things, but the corporate side, if somebody did that to you, how would you have felt?
Yeah, I would say the same thing that you just said. I would be impressed that they're interested in the job, and they, you know, rather than just apply, they're really trying to get in touch with somebody and do the best job they can to promote themselves to potentially get an interview.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's certainly you know, the right way to go. And again, and I think I've said this on the call before, you know, all of this, as Elke said about endorsements, and what Shira says all the time, employers are risk adverse. You know, they want to make sure they're hiring the best possible candidate.
That's right.
And so when somebody that they know well recommends you or endorses you, that's just a feather in your cap, because it gives them a little bit of confidence that, you know, this person, you know, this other person saying this person really performed at this level in the previous job. That's the type of person we need here. That really gives them, like I said, some confidence that you're really a really viable candidate and somebody they really want to interview and talk to.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Other thoughts on this? All right. I noticed we have another new person, Zach. Sorry, I just muted you because I heard some noise. But do you want to share with us anything about your job search and how we can help?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, what you want to know about?
Oh, so what kind of job are you looking for? Or what kind of industry are you in? We just wanted to kind of hear a little bit about.
I'm in tech and I'm looking for a tech job.
You say you're tech as in you're in IT?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Any specific area of IT?
I mean, I'm more of a data and analytics person. That's what I've done,
Okay.
but that also goes in QA and analysis too.
Okay.
But I code too.
Okay, great.
Hold on one
Dave, I
second.
know you're in IT as well. I don't know if that what he just said has anything to do with your background, but if you think you could be of support, maybe you guys could exchange information. We always want to make connections where possible. So
I'm sorry, I missed the name. What was
that's
the
okay.
name?
Dave McPherson, who's on this call right now. He's also in IT. And
Okay.
just in case there's any connection between what the two of you do.
Misery Loves Company. We're probably in different lanes, but that I'll be happy to.
Okay, good. So
Sure.
maybe you
I
could,
did.
put each other's contact
Hi.
information. Great. Okay, so and Zach, the way we run this this is an open question and answer. So we're just asking for people to share any job search questions. Okay. All right. So anyone else have a question we can address? Or a topic that you'd like to throw in here?
So I'm sorry, I kind of missed. What are you a recruiter yourself, or you just moderate, or what's your?
Yeah, actually, all of the above. And actually, there's three of us on this call who are subject matter experts. So I'm a recruiter and a career coach. My colleague Vern is a former human resources executive and also a career coach. And my colleague Alki Thompson is also like me, a third-party recruiter. So the three of us have expertise in recruiting and career coaching. And so
But do you guys
yeah.
work for like tech systems or like Anderson or any of those companies?
No, we are third party. Yeah, we don't work for any company. Well, I'm a headhunter. Alki's a headhunter. Alki and Vern is a career coach, and so am I. So yeah, we don't work for any corporate entity. We work for ourselves.
You're independent.
Independent. That's right. We're all
And we're
independent.
basically here to try to help people through their job search
Yep,
and
we
answer
just wanna give
whatever
it-
questions they have and maybe connect them as, in this case, again, Dave says he's open to connecting with you. And if you guys exchange email addresses and, learn a little bit about each other, he might have a lead for you. You might have a lead for him, that type of thing.
We're just here to help.
No, in some cases, the people who are actually recruiters and they have jobs, they also.
Oh yeah, no, that's not our group. Yeah, we're just here to answer job search questions.
Okay, so how do we search jobs?
I'm sorry?
What's the best way to search the job?
Well, that's a very big question. Could you break that down a little bit? Could you have a specific question? That's all we talk about here is job search. So do you want to ask a specific question that we can answer?
Yeah, which medium, where to look? What's the most successful medium to look? I go knock on the door and say, "Hey, can you hire me?"
Yeah, so that's a pretty big question. We try to break that
Wait
down.
outside in the parking lot when the manager comes out and say, "Hey, do you want to hire me?"
Yeah, right.
Sure. Let me try to answer that. Give a quick answer. First of all, Zach, for any job seeker, the first thing you really need to do is do as good a job as you can in figuring out exactly the type of position, the skills, the experience that are a great match for your skills and experience. And then from that point, obviously, you've got to create a resume. You've got to start to search for jobs. But the most important thing, and Sharon and I say this all the time, 80% of jobs are found through networking. So, rather than knock on a door, that type of thing, you need to start to reach out to people who know you well, and know your skills. Tell them about your job search, stay in touch with them, have them introduce you to other people who are in the IT field. The more people you talk to in the IT field, the greater likelihood you're going to come up with some actual jobs that you're qualified for. So
networking is huge. And just like we were trying to connect you here with Dave, even though Dave is in a different part of IT, you still have a broader tech community that you're connected with. And so, for you, anybody who's in IT could be a good networking partner. especially people who do data analytics. And the reason, Zach, and this is something you need to listen up really well, the
Okay.
best kind of people you can network with are the people who do what you do. And the reason is because those people could hear about jobs that are not right for them, but could be right for you. Let me say that again. People who do what you do might hear about jobs that are not right for them, but could be right for you. That's a wonderful way to network, because we recruiters on the other side, we're doing that all the time. We're going to the candidates that we are interested in. For example, let's say somebody was doing a search for a data analytics person. And as a recruiter, we're saying to that person, hey, we have this job. Do you know of anybody that could be right for it? Now, we're hoping that that person is going to say themselves, but we're also presuming like birds of a feather flock together. We're assuming that data analytics people might know other data analytics people. We're hoping that that network is going to work. So the flip is true for you. If you connect with people who do what you do, then if a recruiter comes to them, that person can refer you to that job. So honestly, if you're going to maximize your networking, that's what I would do. I would go to LinkedIn. In the search bar, I would put in the title that you use for yourself, try to find other people who do that kind of work, reach out, make connections, and see if they would be open to talking to you or keeping you in mind for other opportunities, because that's one of the ways you're going to expand your network. But there's a lot of ways to network, but that's a really good one.
So I go to quite a bit, like your meetup or like a group is one of them. I go and talk to people, but interestingly, most of the time I meet people who are themselves looking for a job, or some of them, if they happen to be on a job, they have no clue about job search because they are on the job. Some people are there for like 5, 10, 15 years. They say, I don't even remember how to search a job last time, what I did. And I don't know anyone. Recruiters don't reach out. I don't have a active LinkedIn, or I don't have my resume posted. So a little bit of other side of what you're saying, networking with these people results sometime in this too. And that's quite common. Either
Well,
people are looking and they don't know, otherwise they would be on a job, or the people who are on the job, they say that, look, I don't even remember. And that has been case with me too, when I was in a job for like a
Yeah.
little bit longer time, 3, 4
well,
years.
Zach,
And
going
I
to
didn't know how to search a job. And I came out, the market has changed completely.
Yeah.
LinkedIn was not in the picture last time when I looked for the job. You go on Dice and everywhere, and you apply, and then people will interview you and hire you.
Well, Zach, when going to kind of open forums of networking where there's 20 people, 50 people, 100 people is not the best avenue. And when we're talking about networking, we're talking about one-on-one networking. Reach out to people that you already know and people who know you, people you used to work with, people that you've worked for, or a project you've worked on, where you've demonstrated your skills and competence. Those are the people that you should be networking with, because you're right. When you go to a large networking event, people just go there because they think, well, networking is important. I'm going to go there, and they really don't know how to network, or they're not sure what they want to do, or they don't like to talk to people. I don't know why they go to networking events when they don't want to talk to people. It's just not the best use of your time, unless if there's a specific IT networking event for data analytics people, that's going to be a presentation about the greatest, newest thing in data analytics, then I would go to that, because there's going to be more than likely people like you at that networking event.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to find what you're saying.
Well, and yeah, that's the exception. There's not, for example, Shira and I, a long time ago, belonged to something called the Human Resource Forum in Washington, D.C. It's a group of human resource people that would meet once a month. And the reason we would go there is because these were all other professionals in human resources who would share information with each other, talk about the newest law that was been implemented, and what are you going to do in HR. That was a very valuable experience. Now, we all had jobs at that point, but that's the type of information that gets exchanged when you're with people who know you well and are in that same lane that you're in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing like a networking wherever I can find, but like that pinpointed one is not that much available. You just go with what you have. I sent my LinkedIn scan if anybody care to join there. That'd be nice.
Okay.
Yeah. And also Zach, and then we'll wrap up with this. So just to double back on what I was saying earlier. So let me be more specific. When I was talking about using LinkedIn to network, I'm talking about using the search bar in the upper left-hand corner of your LinkedIn page. You can use that search bar is actually a database. That's the link to LinkedIn's, that is your connection to LinkedIn's database. And if you put in that search bar the title of the type of job you're looking for, let's say, I don't know whether it's a data analyst or whatever the title is, you can go find people who do what you do proactively. So you put in that title, hit enter, and then there's a little people button, and then a whole list of people are going to come up. Some might be
You're
first
talking about top left, right?
top left. So let me
I'm typing as we're talking about.
yeah, I'm going to share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. This is actually good for everybody on this call to as a refresher. So it's it's the search bar in the upper left, right? So if I just put in, I'm making this up. So I'm going to put in data analyst. Okay. Hit enter. And then hit the people button in the upper left-hand corner. And now I have literally 3 million people that come up. Now they're not all data analysts, but you see how most of them are. Say data analyst, all this stuff. Okay. But then I can filter down and go to the all filters tab in the right corner. And that'll give me options to filter. I can filter by connection. I can filter by location. So for example, I'm in the DC area. I can go down to industry. Okay. So I know this is all technology, but that's all right. I can still do that. And if there was if one of the industries I'm looking in is not located there, I can tap on add an industry. You can start typing the industry. Now it's a little tricky because not every industry is going to show up. I think for your sake, you can just click on the technology ones and then you can hit show results and that'll narrow it down a little bit. Okay, so now I only have 22,000. That's still a lot of people. But what I would do is I would go through these folks and I would see, I start doing some digging, open up Robin and say, okay, what does Robin do? Okay, where does Robin work? And is the kind of work that she does similar to my work? And if so, here, look, I've noticed that she's a second level.
Second, yeah.
Now, funny enough, to Dave's point, do you notice here there's no see, I think this is a glitch with LinkedIn. There's no mutual contacts. There should be. Okay, there should be mutual connections here. So she isn't somebody that I can network with easily. So let me just try to go to Dana. Now you see Dana, this is proper. See, all of my connections to her are right here. So I might go here and I might say, okay, I've got these 3 people who are mutual connections because they're all first level to me. I would pick one that maybe I know better. Now it happens to be, I don't know any of these people. I'm an open networker, but I might go to this person here, right? And I can do different things. I can go to Abbas and I can send him a message, right? And say, hi, Abbas, I noticed on LinkedIn, you are connected to, Dana so-and-so. I'm interested in connecting with her. Would you consider, connecting me with her? I could also go to his contact info. And I could, it happens to be that he's not showing his email address. Most people do. Let me try somebody else. He's trying to be confidential. Hold on a second. I could go here. Let's see. Ibanez. Hit contact info. And here's her Gmail. Okay. And I would just go to Gmail and I would write her a note. And mind you, I only got her email because I'm first level. So I would go to Ibanez and say, hi, Ibanez, in email. That's the easiest thing to do. Hi, Ibanez, I noticed that you're connected to Dana so-and-so. I'm looking to expand my network. I'm looking for, IT roles and in data analytics. I noticed that she's in my field. Would love to connect with her. Would you consider brokering an introduction? Now, she may or may not know Dana well. She may or may not say yes. I don't know. She might ignore your email, but you can try. She might say yes. in which case she can just put the two of you in touch. The other thing you can do is you can leverage the name of your person. You don't even have to go directly to Ibanez. You can go back to Dana here. Hold on. Okay, go to Dana. You can hit the connect button, add a note, and then you can say, hi, Dana, you and I are mutually connected through Ibanez so-and-so. Now, mind you, I did not say here, Ibanez referred you to me. That's not true. Don't say that. Hi, Dana, you and I are mutually connected through Ibanez. That's true. I noticed that we're in similar fields. I was impressed with your background, presuming that you are. And would you be open to connecting and possibly having a Zoom call because I'm doing a job search and thought maybe we could explore some synergies, that kind of thing. And then send a lot of those notes out. Don't expect that just because you write to Dana, she's going to write you back or accept your invitation. Remember, she's busy. She may not see your note. Whatever, she may not choose to accept it. If you're like a farmer and you plant lots of seeds, hopefully some of them are going to pop at some point. So connect with Dana and Susie and Fred and Mary and Joe and all these different people. Hopefully some of them will accept your invitation. Hopefully some of them will agree to meet you or keep you in mind. But the more people you connect with who do what you do, the more likely it is that if they hear about an opportunity that's not right for them, it could be right for you. Does that make sense? That's a much more proactive way of networking than simply going just to job search groups. You're welcome to join job search groups like ours all the time, but notice our kind of group, as with most kinds of groups, are very eclectic. We have people from everywhere, not necessarily in your field. This way you go directly to the people who do what you do, right? And connect with a whole bunch of them. And hopefully those people in your community, in your lane, are going to be able to help you a little bit better. So try everything, but also try this. Does that make sense?
That's more like a cold calling, right?
It'll feel like that. Yeah, but you're right. Not literally, but yes, it's a cold outreach to somebody you don't know, but hopefully if it's a second level, you should be able to find your mutual first level connection and at least drop their name. So that warms it up just a little bit.
So what if I have 20 connections?
And it's also, it's not a complete cold call because you do have something in common with them,
Yes.
your work.
That's right. That's right.
So
this is the thing I was saying, that I am kind of new to LinkedIn too, so I don't have that many contacts.
well, this would be a way to gain contacts.
That's exactly right. Having a lot of contacts is actually extremely helpful on LinkedIn for exactly the reason I just mentioned. Notice when I put in data analysts, 3 million people showed up. I have 30,000 contacts. Now, you don't need 30,000 contacts. I do that because I'm a recruiter. But you want to have at least 500, okay? And it's not hard to get. And one of the ways that you can easily build up your contacts, LinkedIn will help you do that, is if you go to your My Network tab right up here, okay? Oops, sorry. If you go to your My Network tab, down here, it's going to scroll first. Give me 1 second. It's thinking. All right, down here, LinkedIn is going to give you different categories of people that you might know. So here I went to Maryland, so they've given me people I know from Maryland, people I know in DC, people I may know across, people I follow, groups I may be interested in, people with similar roles. Here we go, right? And so you could look down these people and see, first of all, is there anybody who you actually know? Those are the first people you want to connect with, for sure. There are a lot of people who you know that you may not be connected with. The other thing you can do, though, is you could actually connect with these folks. Now, I will give you a little tip here. On this particular page, the way that LinkedIn works is if you were to hit the connect button right here, that's not the best thing to do. And the reason is, from this page, if you hit the connect button, it's going to send them a generic invitation. The generic invitation, I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn. That's not really the best way to connect with people because it's not personalized. The way to personalize a message from this page is you click on the person's name. Then you can hit the connect button from here, and then you can add a note. Okay. So what I would do then, I would recommend is if you go to people who do what you have similar roles, which is exactly what we're trying to advise you to do, That's a really good way to do it because these people actually are going to be second levels. That LinkedIn only does that. See here. So all these people here, they're all going to be second levels to me. Okay. All of them, because LinkedIn
Jack,
is,
yeah, Jack, notice the ones that say open to work. Is that what it says? Sure, open to work.
hold
More
on.
than likely, those
Those
folks
people
are
are
in the
job
job search as
seekers.
well.
And those job seekers are more likely to want to connect with you and help you. So that's a great point, Vern. Another data analyst job seeker is going to be more likely to want to connect with you because then the two of you can help each other. Okay.
So there are a lot of recruiters from India that call me, and I'm sick of them.
You're going to get a lot of recruiters spamming you with a lot of stuff, and that's just normal. But you don't look. It's more, Zach, what we're trying to explain to you here is the more proactive you can be, the better. Go find the people who do what you do, and also recruiters who recruit for people who do what you do. Is going to be your best bet. Go to networking groups. People are going to reach out to you and with spammy stuff. That's okay. Your job, go be proactive. Okay. So is that a little helpful?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I have a question, another one. I lost somehow access to the email, which is on my LinkedIn account. So LinkedIn account is logged in my phone, but the email which is associated to it is it's not letting, Outlook is not letting me log in. Is there a way I can replace that email without being access to the actual email?
Are you able to access your LinkedIn right now?
Yes.
Okay. So then all you need to do
Is go and change the email. Will it ask me to verify from the other email or no?
I don't know, but I know you can go to your Me button. You can go to settings and privacy.
Yes, I know you can.
You know about all that? Yeah.
Yes, I know that part.
I don't know. That's a great question. I think because you're not the only person to have that problem. I would try it. And here's your email addresses and add an email address here. And then what it'll probably do is if you just add the email address, it's going to have you verify that email address and you should be able to just make it primary.
Okay, I will try it. But what I am concerned that if it says that verify from the older email that you are trying to make another email primary and then it starts from getting funky.
That I don't know. And so you may want to ask in the community. LinkedIn has a help section at the bottom where you can ask the community because you're probably not the only person that has that issue.
Okay. All right. I'm definitely going to try the techniques and tricks you have said. But I was doing more of an in-person. Anywhere I see and I tell them out, but this is the thing that they say is that, well, we have been on a job. I don't know when I did. Okay, we'll see. I don't have any openings right now.
Well, we all got to try all kinds of different things, but I'm hoping that some of our advice was helpful.
Yes.
All
Can
right.
you guys connect me? I sent my barcode for LinkedIn.
Are you asking if we'll connect with you?
Yes.
Yeah, if you would like to send us an invitation, sure, we can connect with you.
Oh, okay. Because I put.
Excuse me. Yeah, excuse me, Zach. I could not get the QR from that small an image. I just really had a hard time. So maybe you could try something else.
Oh, okay.
An email address.
Is not working.
You can send me. I gave you my email, Zach, so you can just send me an email. That's great. But I'm just saying that I tried using your QR from the chat, and it's such a tiny image, and I just had a hard time with that a lot. Maybe somebody else.
If you maybe just put your LinkedIn URL. If you put your LinkedIn URL in the chat, that's going to be easier.
Oh, okay, that's even better. Sure, I will.
Okay, good. All right. So, and Ty, I know you had a question a while back that we weren't able to address. So, do you want to share that with us?
Well, I not really a question, more comment when you talked about networking, but I think when you do get the interview, everyone that you touch base with, when you go in from the receptionist to everybody is important, that you make a connection with them or, try to, I don't know what the right word is just be nice to them and make sure you say hello and smile and everything, because that all goes into the job process.
Yeah,
True enough.
absolutely.
That's right. Hey, Ty, are you,
And
are you back on a job search? Because I know that you just landed a job.
No, I'm not. I actually start Monday.
Okay, good.
Oh, okay.
Actually start Monday, and I want to just take this time to thank you and Vern again for all your help, and people that are on, just keep coming back every time I get on the call. I learned something new, or it extremely helpful, in addition to networking, being in groups like this, because Vern and Sheer are the best, in terms of offering advice.
Well, we're delighted to help you, and we're so glad you landed Ty.
Yeah.
It's a good blessing.
Yeah, and to everybody else on the call, Ty is someone who worked really hard at the job search, and it finally paid off. And that's what it is. It's really hard work. So, yeah.
So we're really grateful for you.
Yeah.
God bless you in your new adventure.
Yeah,
All
stay
right,
in
so
touch. Stay in touch, Ty. Let us know how you do.
please let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right. So Dave, any other questions from you, since we're dwindling down in our size here?
I just wanted to mention that I went to Career Network, just had a session on resumes, and I'm kind of interested in Jobalytics, which does a keyword search on your on the opening, and it took a little bit of doing to get it downloaded to my browser. But could you comment, or do you have experience with Jobalytics, the little tool that you use? Well, that's all we got from the presentation was use Jobalytics. But what it does is it allows you to download it to your browser. Then it scans your resume and compares it with the job opening and says, hey, you missed this keyword over here. It's really like a keyword search. So like I missed one that was about teamwork. Well, I already said that I worked with groups, but it's just a nice little tool. And I'm going to put the word in. I know that's not a lot for people to go on, but it takes a little doing, but it's called
Jobalytics. Is that similar to JobScan?
I don't know JobScan, but it does is it goes in your browser, and it's a way to say compare the resume with the job opening, and here's keywords you've missed, and it's a just nice little
so Dave,
free tool.
Here's a thought for you, because whatever the AI tool is, right, that you're using, I'm glad you brought this up. So I want to make a mention of something. Not all keywords are equal in a job search. Okay, I want to be really specific about this. Employers, when they're looking at your resume, they're scanning for two things. They're scanning for hard skills and, if necessary, industry experience. They're not looking for soft skills like team building. They're just not. Now, they're interested in that in the interview, but not in the resume. They're going to be looking for example, in your case, of course, your hard IT skills. Or in the case of, I don't know, a financial person, they might be looking for AP or AR or whatever it is. But you want to look at that job description and look in the qualification section and look in the first 3 or 4 bullets. Look very specifically, or what are the hard skills that employer is looking for? That's what you want to focus on. Because if it's just things like team building or leadership or organizational skills or stuff like that, those are kind of throwaway words when it comes to your resume. That's not what a recruiter is looking for. Or if it's healthcare experience, or it's financial services experience, or whatever, if it's very specific, that's what they want. So those are the kinds of skills you want to see that your resume has. Does that make sense?
Well, I appreciate it. And just so you know, the person leading it said that you can go to CNM and you can get them to review your resume, but suggested that you want to hit a high percentage of these keywords anyway. And since my resume, I've actually got it down to 2 pages, right? It's 20 years. I actually have a few of these, sort of like team things, not a lot, but I mean, just this idea. And one of the things that I found too, again, I know there's a difference of opinion. I think you said you just assume everybody does everything with Microsoft Word, and they all know that. But yet, this particular speaker said, "Oh, you should put, Microsoft, skills and so forth." So I know there's differences of opinions, but to me, it's just a tool in your toolbox to say, "Oh, maybe I should mention that I've done this kind of thing." And I haven't explored it enough to know if it includes enough technical terms or other things as well.
Yeah. I guess the whole point of it is the more specific you can be and address what the employer is looking for, the better. Not, again, just the technical kinds of hard skills. The thing that's going to make it, you distinct.
I guess the other way to say it is, as Shira said, you look at the job posting, the job description, and what are those 3 or 4 or 5 key skills that they're looking for. You make sure those are in the, keywords, you make sure those are in the resume. And then obviously if you want to put teamwork in and some of these other things, it doesn't hurt.
Right.
But if you don't have those 3 or 4 or 5 skills, words, then all your teamwork and all your organization is not going to matter, because you're not going to go beyond the first screen of look of the first read of the resume.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, we're speaking of keywords, my 2 keywords, one of them I don't want to throw out yet because I'm holding on to it, but I'm going to do it. It's the first time ever I've ever mentioned it, but one is casino. It's all a casino. And it's, are you playing in Vegas? Are you playing in Atlantic City? It's a roll of the dice. It's, which dealer, does the house always win? Which words you use over here? Some people like these words, some ATSs like these words, some don't like those words. It's all a casino. The most important thing was what they said, no matter what job, AI or anything you use when it comes to applying for a job, using words that are in the job description. I'm new to the call. I'm a recruiter who's seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes. At the end of the day, my job is look at that resume, match it to the job description that the hiring manager gave me, match it to the words that the hiring manager told me in our intake meeting that they're looking for.
That's right.
I've got my words.
That's right.
The casino part is everybody who does my other word that I don't want to share, but I'm going to share. I call it the resumatrix. It's a matrix. It's all these codes with resumes trying to make it work. And how do I change my resume? Do I do this? That person said I should do this. This person said I should do that. The recruiter said I should do this. I'm paying this recruiter $400. This other recruiter, I'm paying another 200. It's a matrix. And figuring it out is, it's not an easy job, but what you want is to do those things that give you the best chances, like you would, whether you're playing craps or slot machines. It's all a gamble, and it's trying to get the best numbers that you can. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, but again, to me, it's a resumatrix, and it's tricky, and there's so many different codes involved and so many different ways to do it. The ultimate thing you want is to get you in front of someone as soon as possible with as less attempts as possible. And the highest probability that somebody's going to talk to you and give you and you have the highest probability of getting an actual job.
And one of the ways to do that, and it's interesting as Alki's talking about all this, right? Because it's sort of this, everybody's trying to find each other, trying to find the slot, right? Try to walk a mile in the recruiter's shoes. I know this is tricky to do. Try to be the recruiter. Look at that job description. Really, really read it. Don't scan it. Read it well, analyze it even, and say, if I were the recruiter, what kind of skill sets would I be looking for in the ideal candidate? Really try to figure that out. Be thoughtful. Now, I realize that that's tricky when you've got like 25 different jobs that you're looking at, or 50 different jobs. I get that. This takes time. But if it's a job that you really feel like you are very interested in and qualified for, which is going to be especially important if it's a job that's posted online, meaning that the recruiter's looking for everybody. So now you're competing with everybody, especially if it's a remote job, in which case the whole country is applying. Okay. What are the keywords that when you really read that job description, are very important? And by the way, not for nothing, I've said this recently, because if a job is remote and you are competing with the country, your competition is 10x at least. Okay. Which is all the more reason why you got to network. So it's this balancing act that actually Alki is kind of inferring, because you've got the resume side with the ATS and the recruiters trying to scan that way. But then you have the networking, and the networking hopefully is going to help separate you from the competition. But also the lovely thing about networking is you can find the hidden jobs, the jobs that are not posted on the job boards. Alki and I, and Vern, when he was doing HR and recruiting, we have plenty of jobs that do not go on LinkedIn, plenty of jobs that don't go on Indeed or Career Builder. We're just networking with people. They're hidden from the market completely. 80% of all jobs are hidden from the market. 80%. Okay. whether that's a recruiter looking, whether that's the hiring manager looking, the CEO looking, everybody's tapping their network and saying, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? That's why we always recommend don't focus on the job boards. Focus on your networking. That's really where a lot of people get their jobs. You focus on the job boards, you're now one of 1,000 people who are applying for this job, and your chances are much, much less.
Right. I want to comment on Alki's comment about the resume matrix. What I used to do is I would have 5 resumes. This is my last job search. And I'd have 5 resumes. And then depending on the listing, I'd take one of the 5 and I would kind of muck about with that one to try to point it more. But that was my baseline, was 5 different starting points.
Yeah.
So I think that relates to this. And I think of it as the lottery. I think casino is a better term. I always say it's the lottery, but at least if you buy a ticket once in a while, you think, well, I may not have a lot of chance, but I'm trying something.
Well, you know what, to that point, let me just make a little caveat here, because I'm also got my recruiter hat on now. If there's a job out there, apply. You never know. We want to know you're there. You might get the job. You never know. I guess more my point is this: don't focus there. Don't put all your eggs in the job board basket.
Oh, I'm spending very little on that.
Yeah,
very little on that.
we say 10% of the time, right? Apply, do your thing, forget about it. Then really focus on your networking. That should be the majority of your search. Unless, by the way, there is a job out there on the job board that is like super you. I mean, like it is a matchity match. Then go after it. Do that cover letter. And by the way, on LinkedIn, I don't know why they don't have Alki, I don't know if you know this, why they don't have a place to upload a cover letter. Have you noticed this? I never get cover letters on when I do a LinkedIn job board post. And I think they just don't even have a button. Is that right, Dave?
I think they default to like upload a file.
Upload a file.
They don't highlight, cover letter as important like that.
You would have to actually create probably a PDF and do cover letter resume together. But does that make sense?
I just did an apply for a LinkedIn job, and I was really encouraged. There's like 100 people that have already done it, but there was a place for me to put my LinkedIn, and there was a place for me to put a cover letter. And I actually wrote, and I was trying to figure out I thought, okay, to whom it may concern, because there's no names. I don't really like doing that. I guess you could say, in the old days, you'd say, dear sir or madam, but you can't do that now. So I don't know.
Your hiring manager.
But anyway, they did actually allow me to do it. So I composed one, and I did the same classic thing where I said, well, here's a few reasons why I think I'm especially capable. And I'm hoping somebody actually reads it. But I'm thinking a lot of this is going to be AI scanned. So I'm not sure we're actually getting to people on these anyway.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, like, I wouldn't say AI scan for the LinkedIn job board because we physically have to go in there. It's not an AI.
Okay.
Yeah, like literally, like I could actually show you right now because I'm doing one. We have to physically go into our portal and look at all the applicants, and we have to rate the applicants. It'll say good, maybe, or not a fit, and Like there's a whole process that we physically have to go in there and do something with those applications. So we do like a quick scan, right? Just to see if the person's a fit or not. But the point is that if you really, 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 really think that you're a fit, if they do have a cover letter option, go for it. Customize the resume as much as possible. And then if you can find the name of the recruiter or the hiring manager, go offline, go to email and do a separate application. That's if you really, really feel like you're like a total match, do those extra steps.
Well, sure. Are you overwhelmed by the number? I mean, are you getting like 100 people for the one that you're doing?
Well, look, every search is a little different.
Well, I know, but
so I haven't had 100. I've only posted this job 2 days ago, and I probably have, I don't know, I'd have to look, maybe 30 plus resumes.
Okay.
But then again, listen, here's the thing. It's a hybrid job. When we post hybrid jobs, which means they're local, we get many fewer candidates. If I had posted this as a remote job, I could have gotten 100 resumes within 24 hours. And that's what often happens. So that's why I'm getting fewer, I'm sure. But anyway, the point is that we do get a lot regardless. And you want to try to do that, right? Specific match as much as possible. But again, beyond that, network. That's really more the point.
I was going to say one caveat, Shira, and this goes over to the corporate recruiting side, and AI. there are a lot of companies that post to LinkedIn and it scrubs LinkedIn into their ATS, and thus it can sometimes be an ATI situation. But for the most part, as Shira said, it is an actual set of eyes that goes on your resume. And then back to the cover letter question, yes, there are some companies or rich recruiter, when we post a job, we can choose, do I want to ask a couple of screening questions? Do I want to ask them for a cover letter? So we can do that. Sometimes when you post a job, you can get that extra ability to do that.
All right, good. So let's go ahead and wrap up for today. And so I think most of you know that we're gonna end the call right now. And then if those of you who want to stay on, I do a short prayer call. If you'd like to pray with me, I'm happy to do that with you. Otherwise, we will look forward to seeing folks next Friday if you're able to join us. All right. So have a blessed day, everyone.